Next question is from Kelly, the running realtor. Why do I feel it in my hip flexors when I plank? How can I correct my form?
It's because, hey, I'm just going to take a shot at this. It's from all that running.
Oh man!
Just
I didn't even catch that.
Just going to take a shot in the dark on this one, Kelly, and I bet it's all that running.
So you're first off, your form, and we'll get to what Adam said because that's I didn't even catch that. But your form definitely when you plank. First off, a plank you're using 2 points, your forearms and your elbows and your toes, and so everything in between has to stabilize to keep you up. Well, everything in between includes all the muscles that prevent you from folding in half, which also include the quads. They include the tibialis muscles and the calves and the pecs, but mainly they include the hip flexors and the muscles of the core. Now you can change your form to emphasize the core more than the hip flexors or vice versa. Most people do a plank and it's a hip flexor plank. And how do you know this? You look at them, they have an arch in their low back and their butt sticking out. Yeah. Okay. You want to make this a core plank. Tailbone. Tuck your tailbone. It's uglier. It doesn't look that good at the gym when you got your tailbone tucked or whatever, your butt's kind of whatever. But that is your core now contracting and supporting you. So that simple fix right there will make all the difference.
You did a great viral video on our YouTube channel, Mind Pump TV. The guys will probably link it in here so you can see it. But another reason why, and more likely why you feel it more than probably maybe your friend or someone who's doing it right next to you, why they don't feel like that is because of the running.
Mm-hmm. Your hip flexors are just worked.
Your hip flexors are dominant because when you run, you use a lot of your hip flexors. And so that is a dominant muscle. And so the default muscle recruitment pattern when you go into a plank for yourself is to use those hip flexors. So you feel it in those hip flexors. Instead of activating the core and planking correctly, your body defaults to what it's used to, which is the pattern from running all the time, which this is super common. And again, it's obviously a shot in the dark that you're a runner, but I'm guessing that you are, and that is probably what's doing it. But a simple solve to that is, because we could totally unpack this and address the running mechanics and probably the corrective work you should do based off the fact that you probably run all the time. But let's pretend we're not going to fix all that other stuff, and we're just going to solve the plank simply doing what Sal said or following the video, which you did on YouTube would solve that.
At least, like, bringing those hips up a bit too. I know a lot of times people complain about their lower back pain with planks for similar reasons. But yeah, to tuck the tailbone and to really engage, the abdominals. I mean, it definitely enhances that exercise a lot more.
I also did a video that showed something that I called hip flexor deactivator crunches. So whenever you activate a muscle, the opposing muscle naturally tends to relax. It doesn't always happen, but it's a nice little hack. So if I want my bicep to relax, I'll activate my tricep. If I want my back to relax, I'll activate my chest. If I want my hip flexors to relax, I'll activate my glutes. So this is a crunch where your heels are up on a bench and you come up off you elevate your hips, squeeze your glutes, and then do crunches. And what this does is it allows you to get the hip flexors out of the movement. And the reason why hip flexors are so involved with people when they do ab exercises, because people think if they fold their body forward or they bring their legs up, it's automatically a core exercise. It's not. The hip flexors can do all the work, or the core can do all the work. When the core does all the work, the movement is in the low back. You see it in the flexion and extension of the low back. When the hip flexors do all the work, it's all in the hips. So when you see people doing leg raises and you're watching them and their body looks straight except for their legs coming up and it's their hips that are flexing, that's hip flexors.